Good morning. Hello, it's Leanne Peters here. I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube. And I am here to share with you some guidance. I'm going to pull some cards for this week ahead. This week starting Monday the 28th of December through till the 3rd of January 2021. Yay! We're in the last week of this year, and what a powerful, massive, huge, shocking, explosive, beautiful time it is. There's lots going on, as I am sure is not new information for you. But we'll get more into that sort of stuff in a minute. Before I start, I want to send out an extra special welcome to my Temple of Balance patrons, my Pillar of Light family, and all of those of you who support my work through my website. Thank you so much for your support. If you're new to watching, welcome. Please let us know if you're new so we can welcome you. What I'll be doing today is using my deck of cards here that I made. I've got two separate decks joined together. Combined, that's the Animal Kingdom Oracle cards and my Speed of Light Oracle cards. I've made them the same size so they can fit together like this, and they make a 110 card deck. So we've got lots of great cards that we can see which cards want to come up. I love working with big decks because it means it's I don't know, it just feels more significant, the cards that do come up, because the odds of them coming up aren't as high when you've got a bigger deck that you're working with. So I personally love it. So I'll be using the cards. I'm going to lay the cards out intuitively in front of me here on my trusty chair, and we'll see what the cards want to guide us with this week. A quick recap on last week. We had our theme card was the gorilla, which the gorilla reminded us to do the right thing and to stand our ground. There is an assertive energy with the gorilla, as well as the gorilla reminded us to be solid, strong and firm, really, in our stance, especially in our truth, but also not too stubborn, because we sometimes by doing what is the right thing to do is not necessarily what we want to be doing. So it's been a bit of a push and pull. There's been a bit of a yin-yang duality that's been playing out this week, a light-dark energy, very explosive, very volcano erupting kind of energy, as well, as I'm sure that you've probably witnessed or experienced firsthand or observed around you going on. It's intense, and it sort of feels at the moment, as I sit here, I'm sitting here on this Monday morning. It is Monday the 28th of December for me now. It is exactly 11:41 a.m. here in Tasmania, Australia, and it sort of feels to me like a volcano's erupted. So this eruptive, shocking, explosive, confronting, awkward kind of energy has sort of exploded, and it's like we had all these cards laid out, and I see like a plain deck of cards, so just like your standard deck of cards, and I see that they were all laid out as like a map for how we were living, where we were going, how we felt about things, and it's like the volcano has just disrupted everything that we had laid out, and it sent these cards flying, and some of them have become charred, some of them have gone off into the stratosphere, not to be probably seen again. And it feels like now it's like a slow motion with these cards now coming to land in a new sort of a reshuffled, different picture, a different path, a different map that is preparing to be laid out before us. So there is a lot of uncertainty at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen today or tomorrow, or how what we've done or what's happened is going to affect our life now moving forward. So these are very intense times. So with that said, obviously there's a lot happening. I've probably got a lot to say, but we will see what the cards say now. So I'm looking now for the best cards for the majority of us for this week ahead. I'm not pulling cards for individuals. This is general guidance for everyone. So I trust that you've been let here for a reason, and I trust that something shared will support you at this time. As always, please take on board what feels right, what resonates, and what fits into your life easily from what comes up. So if it feels like I'm talking directly to you, then that's no accident. If it doesn't really make sense or fit in to your life right now, just let those parts go. So think of this as a guide only, and we will see what comes up. So I'm looking for the best cards for this week ahead, starting Monday the 28th of December through till Sunday the 3rd of January. Oh, I get excited when we turn into new months, and this is a whole new year. Very exciting. Okay, the best cards, and let me just see how I'm going to lay them out. Okay, so I lay them out face down here in front of me, and I will turn the cards over and show you in just a moment. We have all, was it last week as well, or the week before? It might have been the week before. We've got all Speed of Light Oracle cards. Not an Animal Kingdom Oracle card in sight unless we get a featured card and we need to pull one. So let's see. Oh, the first card is a featured card, and it says split the deck and take the top cards. I'll go back to my deck. I just split. And we've got another Speed of Light Oracle. Oh, the Abundance card. So there are our first two cards. I'll talk more about them in a minute. Let's get these other cards over. We have the Turtle. And he says to take the bottom card from the deck, which is another Speed of Light Oracle, and it's the Unicorn. So that will go with the Turtle. Okay, so we have 2, 4, 6, 8 cards, all Speed of Light Oracle cards out for this week ahead. So let's get started. See how this fits for you. And bearing in mind too that this is future based, so as the week progresses, it will probably fit into much better. But we've got these two cards for the beginning of this week, and it is the White Tiger and the Elementals card. So let's look at the White Tiger first, and then we'll look at the other card, and then we'll look at how they fit together. It says card 48, White Tiger. And it says schedule, routine, adjustment, and management. So this card is very much about our routine, our schedule, how we are spending or not spending our time. Might be really important things that we're assessing and considering early in the week. How are we spending our time? What needs to change about what we're investing time in? I find often when I'm in a phase of looking at my schedule, I'm also equally in a phase of looking at my priorities. So you might find lately, in the last few days, that your priorities have changed or are changing. So as our priorities change and as we work out more clearly what we do want our priorities to be and what maybe is not as important as we've been investing time or attention in, as we work out that priority list for ourselves, it will help us understand what time we need to make for these things that are our priorities. Sometimes things that aren't even our priority are top of our list of things that we are doing or the way that we're spending our time. So what I like to do is, especially when I'm in an assessment period of looking at my priorities and looking at how I spend my time, I like to make lists in my journal, and I actually make a priority list. What are my current priorities? What am I currently spending time on? And how does that match up with my priorities? I might have some that match up. I might have some higher on my priorities that are actually low on my list of what I'm actually allowing time for. So it's good sometimes to assess and really see visually with a list what your priorities are, what you want them to be, and how you are actually spending your time. Sometimes we invest a lot of time in the areas of our life that aren't working. And time, I'm thinking of thoughts, like worry, talking about a lot, thinking about a lot, because it might be a problematic area or a problematic time period. So that thing on our priorities list might be 5 or 6 down the list, but it's consuming a lot of our time and our attention. So actually, we're making it top priority. So it can help get us give us some perspective if we look at our priorities and how we are spending our time. So early in the week, we'll probably find that we want to assess and really look clearly at how we're spending our time, what our priorities are, and what needs to juggle or shuffle or adjust with that. And then we have this card, card 30, which is great. It's card 30 called Elementals. And it says blessings, abundance, prayers, and opening. This is the abundant card in the deck. It talks about abundance. And abundance are good things. It can be seen as gifts, opportunities, good health. It could be extra finances, a pay rise. It might be a sale, something that you need that you get on sale. And it might be half price when you go to pick it up, and then you've got this little bit of extra money. So it's when things are in abundance. And I like to think too of abundance as being in good flow. So when things are flowing well for me, I feel like I'm in an abundant state. So there is abundance around early in the week, and we've been encouraged to notice it and make time for it, to make time to let the abundance come in and to allow ourselves to be in good flow. Is your schedule, is what you're spending time thinking about or doing, is that taking away from the abundance or the good flow that you could be in? So it might be really important to look at our schedule, how we spend our time, where our attention is going, and is it feeling good for us? Is it feeling abundant, or is it feeling the opposite of that? So let's make sure we're open to the abundance that's available to us at this time. So that's especially early in the week. So I'm feeling Monday, Tuesday, early in the week. Great time to assess our schedule and priorities. So then as we move a little bit further into the week, so I'm feeling Tuesday and probably more likely into Wednesday. So Tuesday 29th, Wednesday the 30th of December, we have this card, card 24, called Expanded Love. And it says productivity, teamwork, and holding space. This is this feeling here of coming together and working together with someone and being on the same page, seeing eye to eye again. There may have been in the recent days or the recent weeks a bit of a discord or this feeling of not seeing eye to eye with another person that's important to you, or not being on the same page. There's almost a feeling of being ripped or something being torn apart, but there is this sense here of things settling, things coming together and getting on that same page again around Tuesday, but especially Wednesday, the 30th of December. This also shows a heightened time of productivity, so a great time to be productive, to get some things happening, some ends tied up, some things done that you've been wanting to do that maybe you haven't been able to do in recent days. So Tuesday, Wednesday, especially Wednesday, a great time for productivity as well. And then that moves us down into Thursday, the last day of the year, the 31st of December. And we have Tiger Claw, card 40. It says to stand your ground, speak up, take action, and find courage. So he wants us to get our claws into something, especially something that's become stale, stagnant, stuck, or we haven't had the courage to speak up about. If the air needs to be cleared, then New Year's Eve is probably going to be a great time to do that. It has an assertive feel to this card, so we may need to take a big breath and just clear the air. So there's probably something that needs to be cleared, something that needs to be spoken, and finding the courage to take action to do so. So see how that fits in for your New Year's Eve. And then I feel like we're still on New Year's Eve because I want to go over to this other, I feel like this is later in New Year's Eve. I feel like I can break New Year's Eve down into two parts. And it feels like perhaps in the sort of morning, the AM, sort of earlier in the day, this card I feel is in effect. So it might be a great time in the sort of morning or early in the afternoon to be assertive and clear the air. And then later on New Year's Eve, the 31st of December, we have these two cards. And let's look at them separately first. It's card 45 called Turtle Dreaming. And it says serious, clarification, concentrate and specific. This card encourages us to get serious now, to stop fooling around, and it's time to get serious about life, to get serious about our dreams. He's carrying a dream catcher here on his back. He wants us to really get serious about what we want, where we want to be going, and maybe also getting serious too about our schedule, how we're spending our time, and what our priorities are. Because there's so much changing at the moment too, that even though we spend time perhaps early in the week in assessing our schedule, how we spend our time, and what our priorities are, it's probably going to become more secure or solid as we get further through the week. It will be enforced, if you like. So we've been encouraged New Year's Eve to get serious, especially about our dreams, but get serious especially about this card, which is the unicorn, card 50. And it says psychic, gifts, spiritual, intuition, and trust. So get serious about our spiritual interests may be appropriate for some. So if you've been talking about, I must meditate more, I must get more serious about my spiritual interests or my spiritual hobbies or my spiritual practice, maybe you're working in the spiritual field. And you have your part of your moving forward into the new year is to dedicate more time to that, or become more serious about creating it into a hobby or whatever you want to do with that. This card is also about trust, and it's reminding us to trust in our instincts, to trust in the decisions that we make, to trust that we are where we need to be. But having said that, if something in our life isn't working, we do have the ability to make changes. So can you trust more in yourself and get serious, more serious about trusting in yourself? There is something very secure about being in a space of deep, deep trust with yourself. A lot of people think of trust when trust is mentioned, that it's about whether you trust someone or not. To me, I can just decide that quite quickly, usually, whether I trust someone or not. And it's usually whether they're being honest. I can feel if someone's been honest or not. So trusting other people is irrelevant to me, because I can just deal with that when it comes up. To me, trust, and is something really powerful about it and very deep, is about trusting in myself for me, and trusting in yourself for you. So can you imagine being in a space, especially if you're feeling lack of trust or you're feeling hesitant in yourself, can you imagine being in a space where you feel so confident and trusting in where you are in your life, the decisions that you make, the words that you speak? It doesn't mean you have to push and preach your beliefs and things onto others, but can you feel so confident, so trusting in yourself? There is a security, there's a stability in that, because you're not walking around daily in your life hesitating or holding back. You're walking around in your life like forward somehow. I don't know how to use the words, but I'm feeling like this forward movement. Whereas if we're not trusting, we're hesitating, we're holding back, and we might, not say the words because we're not sure if they're the right words to say, or we might not make that decision because we don't really know. We're just too uncertain about it. If you are in a space of trust, you're moving forward from that hesitation instead of waiting back. Your body, your energy is forward, and there's more of a directive. There's more of a, what is it? What's the word? It's like a strength and confidence. But it's so nice to live that way. So as we're ending the year, a lot of people are focused on, okay, let's put the crappy 2020 year behind us and it's time to start afresh, which, I get that. But there's been a lot of good things too happen in 2020. It hasn't been all terrible, I think, mostly. I think moving forward now, at least according to these cards, it's important now to really think about getting serious about how much or how we can improve how trusting we are of ourselves. Can you make a decision that you're confident in? Because then you're not going to look back on life with regrets, are you? Because if you're hesitating and you're holding back and you're not really confident and trusting in a decision that you make, you might look back on that decision that you've made in years to come and, wonder if you made the right decision. Well, if you're trusting and confident in the moment of making the decision, you're not going to have regrets looking back. You're not going to have regrets at all looking back. Because you trust that you made the best decision based on what you thought was best at the time. It's an amazing way to move forward. Okay, so January the 1st, we have card 1, Archangel Michael. And he says truth, protection, boundaries, and courage. So this is, again, this warrior energy that brings about courage, confidence, bravery, strength, personal power, to be able to step forward now over the threshold and into the new potential that we're stepping into, as we do every new year. I think it's a great incentive to really step into new beginnings for ourselves and to assess our life. So Archangel Michael, he brings forth an energy of truth, protection, and enforcing our boundaries. So as we understand our priorities and as we understand what we're investing time in, and as we make some adjustments with that, as we get serious about trusting more in ourselves and the decisions that we make, then we're going to feel more clearer about the boundaries that we need to set. And maybe there are some new boundaries that we need to walk into 2021 with. Some new boundaries, some new commitments, some new ways that we will or won't allow ourselves to be treated, including how we're treating ourselves. So our boundaries feel to be very important at the very beginning of the new year. So it might not make a lot of sense now, but I feel like as we move towards Friday, jeepers, it feels like weeks away, but Friday, just Friday, we are likely going to be wanting to really secure our boundaries and get really clear in our own head about what our boundaries are. Because they're our boundaries. No one's going to create boundaries for us. So what will your new boundaries be as you move forward? And how can you apply them? How can you commit to them? And then we've got the weekend all tied together. Saturday the 2nd, Sunday the 3rd of January. And we have this card again, card 34, Healed. And it says golden light, wounds, blocks, and dissolve. This is the physical body healing card. So we might find some of us over the weekend, our body may need some rest, some recovery, some healing, some downtime. And that may be our priority. It feels like a swell over the weekend for some reason. I just feel this swell that's coming up over our body to encourage us to support it in its rest and in its healing. This will be opportunity for us to heal and let go of some things, some residual energy we've carried from 2020 or from the years previous. It's also a great opportunity for us to dissolve old wounds that have been holding us back. So it's interesting, like I get the visual here of like the boundaries being a new fence that we're putting up. And yes, purging is definitely part of healing. Absolutely, Jessie. So I see this fence that we're potentially putting up in the new year, like a new boundary, a new fence that we're building to get really clear and strong about our boundaries. And here it feels like in that fence, I feel like these little weak lambs for some reason. These lambs, like the lamb, the sheep, the baby sheep. And I feel these lambs that we're going to be either moving and tossing outside our fence because we don't need to carry those timid, broken parts anymore. Or those lambs that we want to nourish and nurture and allow grow into woolly sheep. It's strange, but that's how I'm seeing it at the moment. So, the lambs that need to go, that are just too weak to... These are the parts of our life that... may not be working, may not have been working for a while, the things that are keeping us in a weakened state may not be worth having around early in the new year. And we might find that we have to pick and choose for our healing. But this will likely be very personal stuff too. So things that, how we treat ourselves, perhaps. Maybe our own self-criticism might be represented as one of those weak, lame lambs. And we might have to toss it out the fence. We don't want to keep that sort of energy and what these represent, the representations. We don't want to keep them in this space. If we want to move through in this warrior, strong, courageous energy, this assertive space that's coming in. But there might be some lambs that we can tend to and nurture and care for and allow them to grow into the woolly sheep. Interesting. So that's the week. That's the week ahead. It doesn't feel as shocking as last week. It doesn't feel as brutal and as harsh as last week. So that is a nice relief. There is opportunity, like in all weeks, there's opportunity moving forward. And I trust that something that's shared, hopefully at least one thing that you can take on and go, yes, actually, I want to try that out. I want to apply that. I want to see if that helps strengthen me or helps me trust more or whatever you need to do. So I am going to pull the theme card in just a minute. So before I do, I want to encourage you to please hit the thumbs up button. Please show us some love. Please comment or share if you're inspired to. And if you want to connect more privately, please send us a message through our website. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you would love to support my work further, or you'd like to learn more about the work I do at Temple of Balance, please visit templeofbalance.com.au. We are fast approaching our 16-year birthday. So I've been doing this online for 16 years in different ways that have come and go, and strengthened and gone and all those things. So I've got lots of resources is what I'm saying. I've created a lot in the last 16 years. This has been my work full time, all of that period. So please have a look on my website, see if there's something that speaks to you, and your support is always welcomed and appreciated and really necessary in helping me be able to do this work. I don't take any sponsorship or anything like that. It's all just your support that supports me to keep going. So thank you. So I'm looking for the best card for the theme. The theme card will help bring these days together and help us see the bigger picture for this week ahead. So the best card for the theme from the 28th of December through till the 3rd of January 2021 is this. We have an Animal Kingdom Oracle card. Let's see what it is. We have the Cockatoo. Card 47. And the Cockatoo says to be compromising. So we've been encouraged as our overall theme this week to find a compromise and be compromising. That we can't always get our own way. And in fact, if you have two people, like for example in a relationship, that have their feet dug into the ground and they both want to get their own way, the relationship's not going to work. All relationships need compromise from both parties. So maybe there are some relationships, maybe close ones, maybe distant ones, maybe all sorts of facets of relationships this week that may require you to consider finding a compromise to settle any argument if there is that tension there, and to get a compromise that's agreed upon by both parties if that's required. Maybe you need to find a compromise with yourself. Sometimes it's necessary, isn't it, to be compromising. There's also this element with the cockatoo of being social. The cockatoo's a very sociable animal or bird. So we might find this week that we want to be around people a little more than we have been perhaps in the last months. So there might be ways or opportunities for us to gather either online or gather in person and enjoy the social company of others. There is also an element of the cockatoo, especially the white one, is to be vocal, to be verbal, vocalize your thoughts, your fears. And this may be vocalizing it to others, but usually the most important step, at least first, is to vocalize it with ourselves. So really listen to how we feel, what's going on for us, what we want, what our priorities are, what's working, what's not working, all these things. to really listen and ask ourselves the questions so we can get clear and communicate clearly with ourselves. That's going to help us take that information into our relationships, into our workplace, into our life, and the areas that require our confidence and our trust in what we're deciding. So if you're not sure yet, if you haven't got a plan, if you're feeling indecisive, sit with yourself and listen to what you're feeling. Ask yourself the questions, the big questions. What do you want? How do you feel? What does this person mean to you? Ask yourself the questions and listen to your body for the answers. Get super clear in yourself and then take that out into your life with the trusting, the deeper sense of trust and the confidence moving forward. The cockatoo feels like a confident bird to me. It is boisterous, it is loud, it is social, it is confident. Can you embody a bit of the energy of the cockatoo through this week and moving into the new year? So some things to think about. Thank you so much for joining me today. I trust you've enjoyed this connection. Have a happy birthday, happy anniversary if you're celebrating, and a big happy new year to all of you. Thank you so much for your support this year. I look forward to seeing what the new year will bring and what, for me anyway, what I can create with this new year and the blank canvas that is the new year. I'm not going to sit back and wait for life to happen. I've got things that I'm starting to apply, things that I want to try, things that I want to create. I'm not letting life just happen to me. I want to get out there and I want to get my hands dirty. I want to get into my life and create the life. I want to create a great year this year, just like I created a great year with this 2020 just gone. So thank you again. Keep your eye out for more videos this week. There will be a 1-1 healing event on Friday. So keep your eye out for that. And actually I have healing event happening Wednesday and a healing event happening Thursday on my YouTube channel, Temple of Balance, for my patrons. I think that's all. But I will see you through the week, no doubt. If not, next week for the weekly guidance. Come back, connect with the replay if you're inspired to. And I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Happy New Year.